All right, all right, all right. It's your boy, the controversial counselor, just stopping by in the counselor's corner, of course, to talk about one of my concerns, which may lead to several concerns. So, again, I told you during the summertime, I'm just going to pop in at no set times. Monday nights is Monday nights. But tonight, I wanted to talk briefly a little bit about emotional intelligence, which seems to be lacking in this day and age. Could be for multiple reasons. But let me just read the introduction. You're not as smart as you think you are. How does emotional intelligence impact your relationships? If your emotional intelligence isn't up to par, then don't even think about having any long term fulfilling relationships. You can be book smart or having high IQ off the chart. But if you can't handle or make rational decisions under stressful times, then you are no different than a fool in sheep's clothing. So let's discuss that tonight briefly, the importance of emotional intelligence and how it impacts your relationships. Please like and share this video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. All right, we got Daphne on here. Hey, how you doing? She says, sure enough, I think selfishness and lack of problem skills and social and emotional intelligence and maturity go hand in hand. I totally agree. But I think one of the things is a lot of people really probably never heard of these phrases like emotional intelligence. So they have no idea what it means. Vicky says a lot of fools out here in sheep's clothing. Got it. For sure. Definitely. For sure. So let me just give you a brief definition of what it looks like for someone to have low emotional intelligence. Low emotional intelligence refers to the inability to accurately perceive emotions in both yourself and others and use that information to guide your thinking and actions. So sometimes, like I always say, some people don't have no perceptional awareness of certain things. Um, when it may be common sense or basic information or awareness to others, they're just clueless. So we're going to talk about, well, I'm going to talk about like 7 or 8 points that is going to tell you you got low emotional intelligence in certain areas. And a lot of people do. And then we wonder why relationships falter. We wonder why they can't keep a job and they're always in conflict. But some people gravitate toward that shit. They have these type of people in their lives for years. And I don't know if it's for to get personal entertainment, but they keep them around. I know after I got a certain age, I like, yo, this shit is too much. It's just way too much. So we're gonna break that down. Let me see. Vicky said, "Oh, okay." Daphne said, "Absolutely, Vicky." Fools, and Daphne said they don't know how to read the room. They don't. They tend to think they do, but they don't. And I think that's the problem when you can't read the room. And I always say on a individual level, knowing your personnel. When you can't read the room or know the people that you're dealing with, shit is always going to lead to chaos. Daphne said it's time to protect your peace. They miss social cues, for sure. Don't have any filters, say anything at any time. Um, and it could be inappropriate and just not the right time. So let me start off with the first one. They always have to be right. no matter what. You're going to find these individuals, they're going to argue up and down. The other person may have actual life experiences, educational experiences, but they're going to argue because they know or they went through something one or two times. No matter what, they have all the answers. See, for me, I'm competitive, but I think I know when, I know when to back down and say, no, that this person got that. I understand. I know my personnel. I know that they, in this subject area, this particular situation, they got that. So now I want to listen and learn instead of still, going buck with somebody, just bucking with them and just trying to go toe to toe. Man, you see that a lot. Like, and it's crazy. And not only with kids thinking they know everything who haven't been through anything, but a lot of adults. So that's one thing. And this is more so when you start thinking about relationships, co-workers, sometimes family members. When you start understanding individuals, then you know how to react better. And you say to yourself, oh, they already showed their hand. So now I know how to counter their moves. And once you get to that level of dealing with people, shit, you can paint your ticket. Vicky said this happens every Monday on the show. You do realize this, right? Absolutely, I realize it. Absolutely, I realize it. More so now than ever. Uh, I always realized it, but yeah, it's starting to become clear. It's starting to become clear with certain individuals. Yeah, I said it. So they'll just have to figure out who I'm speaking on, but it's damn sure starting to come clear after certain situations. Um, so again, this person, they always have to be right, no matter what. No matter what, no matter what the situation is. And that's how they carry themselves in relationships. That's how they carry themselves at work with supervisors and coworkers who may have an idea. No, this person, they got all the answers. They got all the answers. Okay. They turn conversations toward themselves. You know how you can be talking to someone and it's your time. You got the mic and you might be in something and your feelings or something that's bothering you and you just really want a listening ear or someone to kind of validate what you're feeling, but somehow, some way, these people with low emotional intelligence turn that shit and make it about them, no matter what it is. And you like, wow, wow. For example, I just lost my grandmother or something. And I'm not saying I just lost, I'm just throwing this out there. And you're like, man, I'm messed up behind that. Like, and you just really want to get your stuff off and talk about that. Somehow, some way, they take over and it becomes their long-winded story of when they're, it's okay to self self disclose, but when you take over the conversation and you make it about you, that's you suffering from emotional intelligence because as Daphne said, you can't read the room. You can't read this person that they need someone to just listen to them without giving any feedback or just taking over. Daphne said, I'm glad we had the emotional intelligence to iron our differences out, and that was the best. Yeah, yeah. And I'm be one to admit I was bothered by that. It bothered me that it came to that point, and you know, and it was just like miscommunication. But no one's perfect, and sometimes we may get caught up in our own stuff and might be might be a little stubborn or just don't say, you know what, this person is valuable to me. Let me try to fix this. But sometimes we just, you be at a standstill, at an impasse. So, but we made it through it. Sometimes you go through those storms. You said we had to get in alignment, and that's facts. So back to the point of somebody taking over on the conversation, and you'll find that out. Like you'll have friends or family members that you'll say, all right, I'm gonna give them a call, and it might be something that's bothering you or you just want to talk about, but it ends up being about them, and it ends up making you feel worse because of that, because now they're dumping everything from themselves on you, and it's frustrating, and you're like, I don't even know why I even waste my time, because I can't get a word in otherwise. Remember, when I pop up like this, it's just going to be short and sweet. um, Here's another one. They blame others for their problems. Everybody did this. The white man, my dad was like this, my mother didn't show me love, I had a sibling rivalry. Uh, I tried to do this program, or had or did this, and no one was there to support me. Um, Everything seems to be you're blaming others, and you don't look at maybe a common denominator and say, "Damn, what part do I play in this?" And that happens a lot in the relationships too, like with people that they can't connect or have strong relationships, but it's everybody else's fault instead of them looking back at themselves and trying to fix what they're doing wrong. And granted, we all got shit with us. We all got shit with us, and we all make mistakes. Some of us try hard to change them, and others say, I ain't changing shit. Let's see what these comments. Vicky said, what I miss? Damn nabbit, laughing my ass off. You ain't missed nothing. You ain't it's the same old stuff. Daphne said, people don't understand the value of their people, and we live in a microwave throwaway society. Facts. Exactly. Your iris is grown, and it's time to heal and repair the harm that you may have caused. But people are not at that point. They don't really want to change. Change is uncomfortable. Even though I often say, and other people say, the only way you grow is when you got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. But some people, they're complacent, and they're in their world. They're happy where they're at. But what can we do? But they fall under that category of low emotional intelligence. All right, moving along. They behave insensitive. They're insensitive to a lot of different things, and and part of it is because they're always caught up in themselves. So when you're always caught up in yourselves, and you're listening to respond instead of listening to understand, you're going to be insensitive, because whatever someone says going to go out one ear through the other. So they're going to have insensitive responses, unfortunately. And it could be something. I'm gonna go continue with the grandmother theme, that you approach this person and you tell them about your grandmother and say she's 88, and you're like, man, can't believe she's gone. Like, man, like, she was my everything. And, they might ask, how old is she? You say 88. Well, damn, she lived a hell of a good life, whatever. Like, shit, she was gonna die anyway soon. They say stuff like that. People actually say stuff like that. Unfortunately, and you looking at them, and it doesn't it doesn't take away the pain for you. That's why I learned in counseling 101, and stuff when when people pass and people like, oh, they're in a better place and stuff like that. Can't say that with everybody. You can't you can't say that. Not everybody is programmed to believe um in that, because example, it's the summertime now. A kid chasing a ball and they go after it, and some jackass riding down the street going 50, 60 end up hitting the kid, and they end up dying. You can't tell me or convince me to say, you know what, it was their time. They're in a better place. To me, that would be insensitive to say to a, the loved one of that um, child. And we're gonna go deeper in this stuff in due time, but I just wanted to get this few of these points off my chest. Uh, Daphne said, complacent and complicit. True, true, true. Also, another thing, they have poor coping skills. People with low emotional intelligence, they can't cope, and they might resort to shutting down. Of course, drugs, alcohol may create fires when fires don't have to be there, like arguments. And they just, go into their little shell. And that reminds me, a couple of weeks ago when we talked about sometimes self help. I forgot what the theme of the show was. Something like self help ain't, always, it's not always a good thing. And that's not what it was called. I just can't think of it right now. But that when people go into a shell, isolation, uh, they can't cope and they can't deal with certain things, and sometimes individuals, they'll strike up an argument. They could have nothing to do with you. You might not have talked to that person all day, and you give them a call, then all of a sudden they going off on you. And I always said, pick and choose. Just because you're upset don't mean everybody is equal. I know we have that saying like anybody can get it. No, no. Some people don't deserve to get it, and you'll be wise to realize who should get it and who should not get it. Something to think about. All right. They have emotional outbursts. They get upset. They take it to another level. And one of the things I always learn too, when it's something simple and they end up having a whole outburst about it, it usually probably means that it's something else going on inside with that person. And either you could fall back, or sometimes people like to push the envelope and continue to test waters. But sometimes the emotional outbursts can be overwhelming. Sometimes people have fake emotional outbursts too. So you have to be mindful of that. But I think one of the things is, again, I always say, knowing your personnel, know what makes people tick and what triggers them. And when you start studying that and studying the individuals that's in your circle, you handle them differently. And I know some people, well, it's not too many people watching right now, but if they watch the playback, they're like, oh, what do you mean study somebody and all that stuff? Like, it's not that serious. It's just being observant of people that you deal with in your everyday circle. You start to pick up on certain things, and then you know how to deal with them. Mm. All right. They struggle relationships. We kind of talked about this earlier. They struggle relationships. No matter what, they'll find a way. They'll find a way to sabotage it. They'll mess it up. Everything could be going good. They'll find a way. Guarantee. Whether you're at a you're at an outing, they do something to mess it up, or you decide to go over to each other family members' house or something like that, and they do something or say something. They just struggle with it, and it's probably because of the coping skills. Outburst. What was the um, sort of like a me person, always dominating conversations. Those type of things is going to cause you to struggle in relationships. Vicky said, David Lorenzo Glover, I still stand on my sister is an idiot. I don't think I was insensitive. She was with an abusive man. Why should she grieve for him? I told her, congratulations from the heart. She is a free fine. Next time I will say nothing. And you know what, Vicky? I'm trying. I'm trying to even think who you talking about. Like so much be going on, and sometimes I have to sit back and like, okay, that's what she was talking about. You're gonna have to refresh my memory. And usually I'm pretty sharp with stuff like that, but I'm not gonna try to figure it out now. I know it'll come to me. Says she was with an abusive man. Why should she grieve for him? Uh, Daphne said, yes, that's our viewpoint, but she hasn't arrived at the conclusion that was obvious to us. It's going to come watch. Yeah, got me on that one. And it's probably something basic, whatever, and I should know, but right now it's totally slipping my mind. But okay, we talked about struggling relationships. So those were just some of the things that individuals have low IQ, and sort of like some things that you should be on the lookout for when you're dealing with people. And a lot of times we don't, because remember, we say, "Oh, everybody gets a fresh start." Everybody gets a fresh start. We're not going to judge no one on their past. We're just going to hopefully I'm with them. I'm different from the last person, and they'll be fine. You better study, like I said. You better study and realize and have better perceptional awareness, and figure out who you're dealing with. That's what I'm going to say. Now, to kind of double back down on all that, there's some people that are emotionally intelligent people. They got it. They got the it factor. They know how to deal with people. They've gotten better. They don't put themselves in situations that's gonna stress them out or have them looking stupid. So it's certain characteristics that they have and they worked on to kind of enhance that. Vicky said, definitely, I really pray that she does. She needs to enjoy life. Vicky, inbox me who the hell you talking about. And it's probably like, oh yeah, but I'm getting old too. So 7 habits of emotionally intelligent people. Let me see. Okay. For one, uh, self awareness. They're aware. They know who they are. They know who they are. They know how to deal with individuals. They're aware of their surroundings, and they don't put themselves in situations to be thrown off where it looked like their intelligence could be questioned. So always have good self awareness. And we talk about that a lot too, and along with perceptional awareness, being able to perceive, understand what's going on around you. You'll be surprised, like some of the things people would say, and they say, "Well, I just wasn't thinking right then," or "I wasn't even paying attention." It's important to have self awareness and being aware of your surroundings and aware of the people that you're dealing with. Two, empathy. If you can't put yourself in someone else's shoes, and there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy would be, you're feeling sorry for that person, but empathy, you're putting yourself in that person's shoes. You're imagining if it was you, how would you handle that situation? So you're feeling with them. You're going through the process with them. compared to sympathy, where you just like, oh, poor baby, I'm sorry that happened to you. Some people be looking for sympathy, but the more effective thing is empathy, when someone takes the time to feel with you and go through that pain and struggle with you. Daphne said, but you must be honest with yourself too. I know at times in my own bubble, you got to be honest with yourself. So that was sympathy. Self-regulation. You got to be able to regulate and realize, establish good boundaries, um, and realize like this this isn't for me. This person isn't for me. This situation, this environment. So sometimes you just got to self-regulate to get through some certain things. When you have that kind of cavalier attitude, like it doesn't matter, you're gonna do what you want to do and go go where you want to go, be who you want to be. It'll kick you in your ass sooner or later. It'll kick you in your ass, especially at a certain age. You expect, you know, young people, teenagers, their self-regulation skills may not be on point because they're still learning. But when you're like 30, 40, 50 years old and you can't self-regulate and understand yourself and know, use your perceptional awareness and self-awareness to know what's good and what's not good. Low emotional intelligence. Let's see. Vicky said people love the wrong people. Opposites attract. Always has. Yeah. I mean, you could go with that theory, but also if it becomes stressful or becomes sometimes a harmful situation, then you have to throw that theory out the window. Of course, essentially, you may say, damn, that person is much different. They're different. Oh, that's the one thing that I liked about that person. We were totally different. But and even sometimes people make it together and they're totally different. But I can guarantee you they have start having more commonalities than being totally opposite. I think some of their values and their beliefs start coming together, intertwining after a while. Definitely, I think many people are preyed upon too. Uh, yeah, for sure, for sure. People, and those are people trying to will study situations and study those individuals, and you think they're not paying attention, and then that's when they may go in for the kill. What's another one? Motivation, motivation, which is always tough because sometimes we don't know we don't know where we some people have intrinsic motivation that they can get it from the inside. It's their internal beliefs, things that's kind of built up inside them that makes them want to do better, where other people maybe extrinsic and they need different things. They need to be rewarded, they need tangible things to motivate them to do well. So whatever works for you, you got to be someone that's going to be motivated for change and motivated to just to continue to have a higher emotional intelligence. Your emotions is everything. You got to be able to channel that. And your emotions, thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors is always connected. Like when you're thinking something, then you start feeling it. Like then next thing you know, you start having actions toward that. Then behaviors come out. So your emotions is always going to be a driving force. Vicky said a lot of women stay in stressful situations because they are told a good woman stands by her mate. Well, Yeah, we're gonna hear that, and you'll hear it on both sides. You'll have people tell you, she's a good woman. I mean, I know she has her ways, but you you're not gonna find anything better, and vice versa. They say it about women. You need to stay with him. He works. He does that. He takes care of the kids. It's so many determining factors on whether you stay or go or whatever the case is. I guess at the end of the day, like I always say, I'm going to always, you're going to ask this question: is your world better with or without that person? At at the end of the day, you know better than anybody. Is your world better with or without that person? And if you need to write down pros and cons to help you get to that decision, then so be it. And if it ends up being you're better off without them, then there's your decision right there. If the tables is turned and it's the other, like, this person does way more better than he does harm or bad, then there you have your decision. All right, social skills. Yeah, another thing, we know some people don't have no damn social skills, don't desire to have no social skills, mainly because they never really learned how to socialize. I mean, we could start that off. That could start off at a young age when you have little cliques and stuff, and you're only around used to being around your core set of friends, and y'all never branch off and do anything different. That's when you grow. When you have your cluster of friends, but you know and I'm just thinking from a guy's perspective, they may be all about sports, but then you decide to say, okay, I'm doing this debate class, or I'm taking these job training skill classes, and I'm speaking as, from a young age perspective. You start doing different things, or you may be working or whatever the case is, and they may not do it. That helps you grow and develop social skills because you're around different people and different individuals. If you're around the same people year after year, year after year till you get older, I don't know, your social skills is kind of going to be in that cluster, and you're not going to have a big realistic world view as far as dealing with other people. All right, expressiveness. Got to be able to express yourself, but you got to be able to do it in a positive manner. Some people don't know how to express themselves, um, and they refuse to do it, or they do it in a negative way. And like I said, shutting down totally, that's not the option. You're not going to get anything solved by doing that. But even if you're yelling and screaming and all this stuff, that's not always going to be effective. So you got to be able to express yourself. And when you're in a relationship, both parties got to be open and willing to communicate, especially if the other person wants to communicate. Now, sometimes you may know they only want to communicate because they want to keep the argument going. Then, I guess you gotta get that person life space, that opportunity to kind of get everything off their chest. But shit, who knows? It might end up in the same results anyway. So that was that. And we kind of talked about perceptiveness, paying attention to what's going on, paying attention to your surroundings, being perceptive. Remember, we always say there's no such thing as reality. There's only perception. And that's what you perceive the world to be. That's based on your life experiences, um, that you've been through, your religion, your culture, your background, your community. So sometimes you may perceive the world to be different. And I can always say, when I first came on the scene as the controversial counselor, and I talk about this a lot, and I went into different groups and I was talking about my scenarios, and people was like, who the hell do you hang out with? Like, this stuff isn't real. And I would tell them, Before Kevin Samuels was saying that shit, you can't make this up. You can't make it up. It's in the back of my book, 2014, and T-shirts and stuff. You can't make it up. That, but they just because you're not used to something or that's not part of your world doesn't mean it doesn't happen in someone else's world. And that's what I would explain to them. Like, listen, you need to get out your bubble. And like I explained before, some people got intrigued by that. So I would get kicked out of groups, uh, one after another. But then you would have people from them groups that would friend me because they was like, I didn't want to say it at the time, but the scenarios you were posting, I found them interesting. So I wanted to kind of continue to follow you and listen to some of the things that you've been putting out there. So it's always good to have listen to other people's perspectives and realize that your perception or perspectives is not the end all be all. You may lean toward your stuff in one particular in a particular situation 80%, but then someone else has another 20% to go along with it, and you may make some tweaks or revisions to make your perspective that much better. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover this evening. Like I said, I wasn't going to beat a dead horse every now and then. I wanted to pop in and have these conversations, just whatever my concern is, and just talk about it. But before I go, I'm going to give you a couple things, and then we're going to get out of there. I'm going to read two of them. Red flags that your partner lacks emotional intelligence. We talked about it, but I'm going to give some clear cut examples. Unable to control their emotions, lash out with anger. Number two, clueless about your feelings. Like I said, they can't pick up. They don't have no awareness, no perception that you're feeling a certain way because they got low emotional intelligence. Um, Number three, can't maintain healthy friendships, doesn't get along with anyone. Yeah, you find people like that. Can't keep nobody. Can't keep no friends. Can't keep no professional allies or anything. They'll find a way to muck it up. Always has a poker face expression. You never get any emotions out of that person. They always look the same, no matter what. When it's something they should be jumping for joy, they still look the same. When something is sad and they should probably be broken down, they still look the same. No emotions. Emotionally inappropriate, the type that would crack jokes at a funeral. Yeah, you have people, and I know sometimes that may be a defense mechanism to hide the hurt and pain, but sometimes you have people that just go overboard with some of the things that they do at the wrong time in the wrong place. All right, here's another one. Keys to change your emotional intelligence. Stop personalizing others' behaviors by jumping to negative conclusions. Again, stop personalizing others' behaviors by jumping to negative conclusions. You don't always have to jump to a negative conclusion based on what other people do. You don't. Just let it play out. Just sit back, study, read, and react. You don't know it don't always have to end up being a negative. Reducing fear of rejection by setting yourself up with more options. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Again, keeping your options open, not basing everything or like this is how it's going to be. I'm going to put everything on it. On God, I'm going to do this or that. Read and react. Pay attention. Keep options open and go from there. Staying cool under pressure. Always find an exit zone when you are facing a stressful situation. You got to be able to clear out. Sometimes you got to be able to exit out on something and come back to live to see another day, or prevent something major happening if you're able to remove yourself from that situation. Number four, you will always run into annoying individuals. I always talk about this KYP. Know your personnel and don't let people control you who can't control themselves. You'll be a damn fool to let somebody who you know can't control themselves control you. That may show how weak you are and how low your emotional intelligence is if you're letting someone control you who have no control of their life. Number five, be assertive. Don't hold back when something is not sitting well with you. Speak up or stay sick inside. Either you're gonna speak up, say what you feel, get it off your chest, or walk around moping, going to bed in a fetal position, and being upset. That's gonna play on your emotional intelligence. So, people, that's what I just wanted to bring across the airwaves tonight, just to talk about that concern that we have with everything that's going on in this day and age, whether it's, the pandemic, losing family members for that, uh, this recession, inflation, different things like that is causing people mental states to be at a different level. And you may notice the change or notice like, man, they've been tripping, but understand it's a lot going on around us. The racial climate and different things like that. We have a lot going on. So, you'll be better off being someone that who can channel your emotions and also understand and read and react off of other people emotions to create better outcomes or environment. So again, that's pretty much I wanted to come across talk about that. Stay tuned for the next pop in segment. Don't forget on Monday night we will have another panel discussion. I'm going to bring someone in that's very knowledgeable. He's just been in joined the counselor's corner a couple months ago, and he's always dropping jewels. He's part of the Black Manosphere, one of the creators of it. He wrote a book, The Book of Obsidian, the ladies' edition, telling Black women the truth about dating and mating in the 21st century Black America. So Mumia Obsidian Ali will be joining the panel to discuss some of these things. And trust me, the brother, he's done research. He's done research. He, I would say, he has a high emotional intelligence, and he studies individuals, does research, and he wants to talk to try to find a way to make things better between us. But sometimes we look at um, individuals that y'all say that's part of the black male manosphere that they want to divide people when really some of it is just to find a better way that we can make things work in our communities, because we know that it starts at home and it starts with the parents, just building and having better dynamics between us. Because I always say there's no change in anything if you have a chaotic household, and you chaotic households, and you have bunch of chaotic households in the community. Then of course the community is gonna go to shits. Then the school's gonna go to shits. Then any local jobs or anything like that, you still got these same people carrying around these burdens on their chest, and job performance and stuff like that. So it's a trickle down effect. So we're gonna be honored to have him come in and give his insight. I would recommend that either you can join the panel or be in the chat to have your questions and concerns regarding that. Because think about it. If you don't start looking at a different perspectives or other people views, shit, then we're gonna keep getting what we're getting. And I think at this point it's time to start listening to what other people got to say, even though you might not necessarily totally agree with everything. But it's wise to listen and get what you can, um, from those individuals to enhance your lifestyle or make things better for you. All right, so with that said, I'm out. Everybody have a great weekend. Happy Friday, early right now, and then have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday night. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be good, maybe very informing. But I would like for the panel members, the panel members to show up, and also people in the chat to give their insight, and we're going to chop it up and have a great discussion. All right, gang, I'm out. Please like and share this video. And if you haven't subscribed to the Controversial Counselors channel, please do so. Um, love is love. The more people that know about channels and platforms, the better off people can be, and we can grow together. All right, I'm out. Thank you all for joining, and thank you, ladies, for being a part of the chat tonight. All right, see you soon. Peace.